Hey everybody, Jordan here. The PH is silent, and oh man, I wanted to talk about Gen Con. So this is kind of just like a smaller video. I took a bunch of photos and video during Gen Con, and I just wanted to like talk about my experience because it was my first time ever being at Gen Con. So this is where it all started. This is the backpack that I chose to put all of my clothing and all of my dice and every other thing that I was bringing with me in one bag so that I wouldn't have to fight luggage and everything else. My wife has this machine that adds stickers onto stuff. So we made a sweet D20 decal that we put on my backpack so that I could like blend in with other nerds. And then my flight got delayed. So I'm stuck at the airport for what should have been 6 hours to get from where I'm from in Idaho to Indianapolis, but it turned into 12 and a half hours to get there because of missed connections and what have you. So I wasn't too happy, but ultimately I arrived in Indianapolis for Gen Con and was really excited. So I hadn't eaten anything all day. I grabbed some food and I jumped into getting a cab to get down to there. I picked up my badge and everything else, and then we went to sleep that night after playing some games, and we woke up to get ready for Gen Con. Hey everybody, Jordan here. We are in the hotel. It is 8 in the morning. I need a shower, and then I'm going to my very first day of Gen Con. Our hotel was like 20 minutes away. I think if I do this again, I want to be within walking distance of my hotel because I really liked the idea of taking a nap during the middle of the day. But unfortunately, that wasn't in the cards this time around. So Lucian and I were farther away, and we had to drive in. And P.S., this is me and Lucian meeting real life for the first time. We've been internet friends for like a year now, but this was the first time that we had actually met in real life. So it was pretty exciting. And then we arrived at the Indiana Convention Center, the ICC, which was really awesome. And there were so many people. So I took some photos just like walking around. But like the amount of people was staggering. This was just a huge sold out event. And everyone was just either playing games or waiting in line. It was really crazy. And then I was doing a podcast interview with Graybeard from Graybeard's Tavern. And I had my first fan walk up to me. So we had somebody that really enjoyed the channel, and I got my picture taken with him. I handed him out a button, and I just want to say thank you for stopping me and saying hello, because it was really awesome to meet some fans. And I was just super excited that anybody recognized me. So that was really cool. And then it was Keith Baker time, and it was time to talk about Eberron. So I went to his panel, and he had some really interesting stuff about Eberron. During that panel, I ran into Shane and Ishan, and they run Total Party Thrill podcast, and it was really great to meet them. I love their podcast. I was excited to run into some people that I like admire, and so they just have a really awesome podcast, so you should check out Total Party Thrill if you are looking for a D&D discussion show, kind of like what the Saturday morning D&D show is, only just different. But they do a really, really good job, so check out their show. And then another fan stopped me, and he was like, "Hey, I want to get my picture taken with you." And I was really awkward. And I'm like, "Do you know who I am?" And he's like, Yeah, you're Jordan with a PH. And I was like, "Oh, okay," because I'm not used to this. So he took a photo, and then I said, "Hey, can I take a photo with you?" And he said, "Sure." But he was in the Eberron panel with me. It was really cool. And then I ran into my patron, Cyberwolf. So everyone say hello to Cyberwolf. He's a really great guy. And I ran into him, and he was in line for Matt Colville, which I didn't have tickets for, which I was really sad, because that would have been fun to run into Matt Colville, but I did not. Lucian did. Lucian ran into Colville and said hi. Apparently he recognized him from the interview that we did, but I didn't run into him. But Cyberwolf is a really cool guy, so I was really excited to get a picture with him. So thank you, Cyberwolf. And then we went to the Lucas Oil Stadium, where they had like just more games and more areas to play. And so this is like me with the stadium being covered in some kind of flooring, and then people just playing games. It was epic. There was a castle, just some like terrain and stuff that I thought was really cool. So I took some video of it. It was just really intricate, neat stuff. More like BattleTech-y kind of things, which was really cool. And then we got sucked into playing this prototype game that hasn't been released yet called something command something. I forget the name of it. I feel really bad. It was fun. It was intense though. He's like, an average play of the game is like 4 to 5 hours. And I'm like, I am not prepared to play this for 4 to 5 hours. Like, I've got other stuff to go to. So we played for like an hour and a half, maybe a little less. And then we just had to bounce. So Graybeard and I took off, but and you kind of like program your mech with cards, and then you run the program's course. So it was interesting. It was our mechs versus them, so we had to fight a bunch of stuff. I went to this podcasting panel, which was interesting. These two guys run a podcast that I had sadly never heard of, but they were running a panel at Gen Con, so they must have been legit. And I think they have a couple podcasts on their network, but it was fun and interesting. They just kind of had some insights about podcasting and what kind of hardware they use. And since I'm sort of getting into this podcasting business, I thought I would go and check it out. After that, I went to the, what was it called? The exhibit center, the exhibit area and hall. That's the word, the exhibit hall. And I saw Hot Springs Island in the wild. So I had to take a photo of it. I was really excited to see Hot Springs Island there. And then I found Goodman Games and all of their Dungeon Crawl Classics modules. And I was just in love. I wanted to buy every single one, but they were like $10 a piece, which is a good price for a module. But I had no way of really getting them home. So I'll have to make do with other modules that I can get through either buying them online or something, because I just couldn't take them all home. But they're really, really fun. I just ran Sailors on the Starless Sea, and and a lot of these here I'd recognized as like ones that people were really excited for. The one in the lower left there, I forget the name of it, with all the eyes, that was it's a really popular first level Dungeon Crawl Classics module. This was just a cool wolf, and I thought it was really awesome, so I took a photo of it. The guys next to it were actually filming like an interview, which was cool. They had a little GoPro and a mic set up, and they were doing an interview next to the wolf. More fans stopped me, so I was walking by and I heard, I think that's Jordan. And then I kind of just kept walking, and they rushed up to me and they're like, hey. And so I got another photo with these fine people. They were really cool, and we just chatted, and it was super. And I guess they watched the Saturday morning D&D show, which, I'm always like, I really like doing that show. So it was really fun to find some other people that enjoyed that as well. So that was awesome. Thank you. You guys are cool. Just a mech. That was awesome. I went back to the show floor and kind of walked around a bit. And then I found some Klingons that were singing and doing some music. So I just kind of started filming them. They were really interesting. It was awesome. I found the Dungeon Crawl Classics RPG room, but I didn't really understand how Gen Con had these ticketing system, and I signed up really late, so I didn't get in, and I wasn't able to get into games. I would have loved to play a DCC game. That would have been a lot of fun, but unfortunately, I just didn't get around to doing that. But next year, I know. So I know now to pick up tickets and actually get into some games. Oh, man. And then Cody started texting me, and he's like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm over here. And he's like, well, I'm over here. So we found each other. So Cody from Taking 20, this was awesome. Had a lot of fun with Cody. We ended up grabbing dinner. And then we went and hung out with a bunch of other in the secret streamer YouTuber area. We basically like took over a pub, and there's Mike from UnmadeGaming and Cody in the back. But we had a blast just hanging out with other streamers and talking shop and just, I don't know, drinking. It was just really, really fun. And then Ted showed up from Nerd Immersion, and I was like, what up, Ted? And he just came over. He's like, I guess I should talk to this guy. And I'm like, yeah, you should. So Ted, it was awesome seeing you. I had a blast chatting with you and what have you. I also spent a long time talking with Dawn Forgecast, but I didn't get a photo with him, which is stupid of me. But he's like across the table from this photo, and I ended up talking to him for like an hour and a half, which was really great. So Andrew was awesome. And then Bucky showed up, and Bucky runs a podcast on the Spark Network, and the podcast is called Taking Initiative. So we were talking about that, but I was like, that's a sweet tattoo that looks like you just got. And he's like, yeah, I just got it. Brittany from the Venture Madiens did it. And I was like, what? I want to meet Brittany from the Venture Madiens, because we did a podcast together, not a podcast. We did a stream together back when I was under 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which was like a year and a half ago. And it's just crazy to think, because now I'm at 26,000 subscribers as of filming this. And that is mind boggling to think about. that it's only been a year and a half. And I've grown so much. So I'm so thankful for you guys. This is just amazing. But I was like, oh, I wonder if she remembers me. I want to like go talk to Brittany. So Brittany came over and I was like, hey, let's get a photo. And then I was talking to her and she remembered the stream. She sort of remembered me. I think maybe I had a beard, so she didn't really remember me. But then I said, she's like, well, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I run this channel on YouTube. It's like Forgotten Realms Explained. And she didn't really know what I was talking about. And I'm like, it's like Jordan with a PH, and her entire face changed. And she's like, you're Jordan with a PH. And I was like, I am. I was like, and she's like, I fall asleep to your videos. And I was like, what? Well, I hope they're more interesting so you don't just like fall asleep. And she's like, no. Like I listen to them before bed for some reason. But like, she's like, I love your channel. I was like researching all this stuff and it was really awesome to like your demons video and stuff. So, she was just a super sweetheart and it was really great to meet her. And then I also met Little Red Dot around the corner. And she, I don't think knew my channel very much, but, I follow her on Instagram and Twitch and stuff. So I was really excited to meet her. It was just a really fun evening of cool people. And then I headed back to the con, and I was waiting for Lucian to get done with his game so that we could drive back. And there was just like these people making card sculptures, which was really cool. So I took some video of that because I was like, this is amazing. And then we went to bed, and then we woke up the next morning and headed out to go see stuff. Yeah. Oh, and then I was walking the floor with Graybeard, and we were just checking out games and stuff. And I was like, I think that's the Roll for Initiative people who also have a YouTube channel on YouTube. And so I stopped them and I got a picture with them and told them that I think they have a really fun channel, which they do. And I'll put links in the doobly-doo to their channel. So it was fun to It was fun to run into Roll for Initiative. And then we went over to the Blizzard area and they had a bunch of swag, which was awesome, and a giant Pikachu, which was really cool. And you could like sit down and play Hearthstone there. And so then Graybeard and I were talking a lot about Hearthstone and how I love Hearthstone, but I can't play it anymore because it just sucked up so much time and money. And so we kind of walked around. I was waiting to get in to see if I could get into a Kids on Bikes game, on the second day of GenCon. Second day for me because I arrived so late on Thursday. And we found some cool terrain, which was awesome. And I just kind of filmed it for a little bit. And then Kids on Bikes. And I totally got in. And so it was me and 4 other people. And we had a blast playing through this little role-playing game. They had these really cool dice that I wanted to buy. But I just couldn't justify the expense nor the space. I know they're dice. I should have got them. I should have, huh? That's just dumb. Well, I didn't get the dice, though. But I did buy the book. So really excited for the book. And then here's my character. I was Stan Carmichael, the police officer, and we were investigating like basically kind of like a ghost story, but it turned out to be like an invisible boy, which was kind of cool. And then cosplay. There was just lots of fun, awesome cosplay. And I took some photos of it, and people were just dressed up, and I like dressing up too, so I was really jealous that I wasn't dressed up with people. I found a D20 shield and I was just like, that's really cool. And so I took a photo of it. And this was at like a LARPing area in the floor. And I just was like, I want a D20 shield. And then I went to Don't Split the Podcast Network. They had a bunch of their podcasts together. Michael Shea, they had a bunch of their people together. Sly Flourish is there on the left of the panel. And they had the Venture Madiens. They had Total Party Thrill. They had Dames and Dragons. I can't remember the name. I was there for the Venture Madiens and Total Party Thrill and Sly Flourish. So it was fun to see those guys, and that was really entertaining. And then I kind of just took a break. I had a lot of people, and I was like, I just need to rest for a little bit. So I went back to the stadium and just kind of sat for a bit and took some B-roll, and this was nice. There was just so many people, everybody playing games. It was just crazy. But that was a good little relaxing thing. Got some food and noticed that the Gen Con badges were all sold out, and I had to take a photo because I'm just like, that's amazing that this little convention, I say little, this huge convention sold out. I was really impressed with that. And then I used my remaining tickets to get into a Numenera game, which was really exciting. And this Numenera game was epic. Judge James, who has a YouTube channel that I'll put in the links below, as well as he's on Twitter and stuff, but he was our DM and he was amazing. Really fun concepts. Really, we had to deal with this memory loss, but we were from warring factions. And so the 2 warring factions got together, and then we didn't really remember why we were warring because there's this memory loss problem. And after that, we were trying to solve the memory loss problem. Ultimately, and this was just really cool, but like, so we solved the memory loss problem and we realized that we're still at war basically. And like that the tensions are still high. And it's like, now we remember that we hate each other and that what do we do? Do we just go back to our prejudiced lives kind of a things? And I had the idea of like, well, we have this mind altering machine that was making us forget. Can we broadcast the experiences that we had working together to like all of the people in the valley on the island? It was a valley island. It was weird, but I like, could we broadcast that to everybody? And James's face just like lit up. He thought that was the coolest idea. And it was just a really good button on the end of this module that we have been running, and so much fun. So kudos to you, Judge James. You were awesome. And then we started talking about Dungeon Crawl Classics because I'm obsessed with DCC, and apparently he is like huge in the DCC community. So I'm definitely going to have to start getting with him and figure out running a game in Dungeon Crawl Classics. But gosh, that was fun. Then flying home, which another plane delay, another hardware problem on the plane. And so I missed my connection again. So what was supposed to be like 7 hours of flying turned into 14 hours of flying, and that was not fun. And I had to get rerouted through like Salt Lake and stuff before I could get home, and it was awful. But then I finally did get home. I took out my dice tray that I bought, my Gen Con dice bag, and my new dice, and I was happy. So I definitely want to do Gen Con again. I think now that I've gone once, I have a better idea of how it will go in the future, so I will get more out of it. So yeah, look for me at Gen Con 2019. I think it's going to be awesome. And this has been a long rambling video. So if you're still here, thank you guys. That's really nice of you to watch just me talk about my vacation. But yeah, you should all go to Gen Con and say hi to me when we're there, because that was a lot of fun. I am out. Peace. Take care. Bye-bye.